local story. For a very long time, publications ran a story that the economic freedom fighters were VBS looters, that the VBS Mutual Bank, which collapsed in Limpopo after the bank officials and accounting firms and a variety of other entities basically used the bank's funds and the funds of people in municipalities as a piggy bank. They bought themselves helicopters, they lived the most lavish lives. The argumentation and the narrative that came from the media with multiple stories week after week after week after week was that the EFF were VBS looters. As time progressed, the National Prosecuting Authority started to prosecute people, and people were charged. No members of the EFF were charged with the crime or fraud or any of the various laws which were broken in the looting of the VBS Bank. In fact, even when one of the people turned state witness, the first guy who actually turned state witness and testified against the other guys, was serving his time in prison, no one implicated the EFF or any of its leaders in criminal actions. Now, there are some debates and disputes about the morality or the ethics of certain decisions taken by relatives of members of the EFF and whether or not they should have taken some money or other monies. But the fundamental point remains, as things stand right now, the people who have been prosecuted for the crime of fraud and other related crimes in relation to the collapse of VBS Mutual Bank are actually not in any way connected with the EFF. If they are connected to a political party at all roads lead to the governing party, which governs Limpopo province and the nation. So if you spoke to somebody who did not follow the story in detail or blow by blow and say to them, who looted VBS Bank? The answer would be the economic freedom fighters. But objectively, at a dissection level, there are no microscopic details that show that the economic freedom fighters were involved in that. And recently, one of the big accounting firms, KPMG, paid a settlement of 500 million rands for their involvement in the VBS Mutual Bank scandal because they didn't do the auditing the way that they were supposed to do. I don't know what it is about KPMG, but whenever there's a scandal, KPMG is around the corner because this is not the first time that they've been implicated in this particular issue. And it is fair and appropriate for us to say this because they have paid settlements in both of those instances. This is a matter of public record. So at the point at which KPMG has settled 500 million rands for their role, at the point at which you have people who are facing trial and are charged because the National Prosecuting Authority believes they have a credible case for conviction for these particular people, is it credible for us to then make a conclusion that the economic freedom fighters were involved? Forget what you feel about Julius Malema. Forget what you think about Floyd Shivambu. Forget what you think about Dubuli Puni and everything that is happening in the political climate. Just on the facts, is there a credible case? I would venture that there is not a credible case and that the media had a mismatch in what they covered and what cumulatively happened within the VBS scandal, actual trial and case in and of itself. The narrative versus the reality had a big gap, and it affected perceptions of this one particular political party.
Thanks for watching SMWX. Before we get back to the episode, I just wanted to let you know the 4 ways that you can help support this channel if you want to see us growing bigger and better to keep you more entertained and informed. The first way is you can invite me to speak at your company, your school, your institution. You'll see the contact details down below. The second way is that you can become a member of this channel. Become a member, or you can give us a thanks. You'll see there's like a heart with a $sign in the ribbon below this video. Buy me and the team some coffee for this episode. The third way you can get involved is you can advertise on the channel. Now, I'd much rather the community of viewers would be advertisers on this channel than me going out to people who don't really know about SMWX and trying to explain it to them. So if you're a viewer and you have a business and you want to partner and you love this platform, let's partner on this channel. And then finally, you can buy merchandise, you can buy books. All this is in the description down below. Now let's get back to the episode.
Now, let's go to the main event, the discussion around Paul Mashatile. In the last year, I have learned a lot about Paul Mashatile. Against my will sometimes. I have learned who his girlfriends are or his alleged girlfriends. I have learned about his properties. I have learned more about him in the last 365 days than in any period of time preceding this. Of course, he became the deputy president of the ANC and the deputy president of South Africa, so he warrants scrutiny. And I am seeing a level of scrutiny, charts, graphs, spider web thingies. You know once the spider web thingies show up, you know that the media is very interested because they don't want to just explain you. They want to show the spider web. This side, cousin. This side, girlfriend. This side is the son. This side is the Togolosh. This side is the Koko. This side is the dog that was barking next door. This is where he lives over here. It's a lot. But it is fair to cover that. The only challenge that exists in our media landscape is that they don't equally cover every scandal. The media, when it came to Digital Vibes, Zweli Mkhize, you remember that scandal? Oh, we found out everything. This is Zweli Mkhize's cousin. This is Zweli Mkhize's child. This is where they do this thing. This is where they do that thing. These are their good friends, associates. Sha. Here's the chart. Here's the graph. Here's the bank statement. Here's the bank statement. Here's the... We got everything. But ask yourself, Arthur Fraser goes to the police station on, I think it was the 1st of June, 2022. He says, listen, I know for a fact that millions of US dollars were stolen from President Ramaphosa's farm, from where he was hiding them in his sofas and his mattress. I know for a fact because they came to me and tried to get me to help them to get this money back. I know that people were sent into Namibia. They went into Namibia to investigate and try to recover this money from these particular people. And they may have been multiple violations of international law and domestic law to try to get that money back. I know that for a fact. His spokesperson gets interviewed in the media. They say, did this happen? Yeah, no, the money was stolen. We didn't tell the community because we didn't want the community to be afraid. We didn't report the case because, we're dealing with it internally, and we told the police person within the presidency, so it's fine. Don't worry. And then the story goes. The media seems not to be as interested. I have seen Paul Mashatile unmasked. I've not really seen Phala Phala unmasked in terms of coverage of that particular scandal. I've not even seen follow-ups on really what was happening with the son and the Bosasa money and anything happening there. If you say it is worthwhile to know what Paul Mashatile's son is doing and any corrupt dealings he may be involved in, if you say it is fair for us to ask questions about everything that is happening within the network of influence of Paul Mashatile, surely it is fair for us to get the same level of coverage for the president, because he's currently the head of state. He's at the front of the ticket. He's going to be the number one candidate for the ANC. And if they can cobble together a majority, he will be governing. So what about his relationships? What about the source of that money? We've gotten some ideas, but we've never gotten a full picture. We've never gotten from the media the same level of scrutiny, analysis, charts, bar graphs, spiderweb thingies, you name it. We've not gotten that. Podcasts. We haven't gotten a themed episode, unmasked, so and so. Maybe that's out of respect, but also maybe it's because the media is playing a role in influencing public perception in a way that we should examine, question, and scrutinize, because we've already established that the media can actually affect electoral outcomes. And if the media is going to cover these types of stories, they have to be fair, they have to be comprehensive, and they have to be consistent. What does that mean? It means if you care about Digital Vibes, you must also care about the unfair treatment of black people by banks, by insurance companies. There have been enough anecdotal stories from people who've had negative experiences for us to actually say there's something worth investigating here by the media. But the media seems to have favorites. The dominant media, they choose which companies are worthy of scrutiny and which companies are worthy of exemption. They choose which